Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ and Sons and our brand new Planet Coaster series where we are going to be building Austin's Adventure Park. This is an idea I really just came up with in the last basically week or so. Finally kind of started to get um, thinking about getting back into playing the Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo games. I still have my Austin Zoo that's not completely finished. But you go through periods with these games of being, either hyper motivated to get them done, or you hit little lulls at times where you just can't seem to get yourself to play the game because other things take over. And we have a lot going on at the channel, so that's understandable when that does happen. But we are back in it, and we are building us a new theme park. Now, you can kind of see it off to the sides a little bit. Um, I did put in my first parking lot, and this is in the scenario editor, so I believe we changed the size of it. Just increased it a little bit. This is not going to be some massive mega park. Okay, it's going to be a decently sized park, nothing special to it. Um, I think we're looking at having probably I want to say 5 roller coasters. One of them being a kiddie, so four basically for the adults and so on. Um, yeah, I think that's what we're kind of looking at with a good mixture of flat rides into it. So it won't be the biggest park in the world. At least that's definitely not what I'm planning on. If we, while going through building it, that kind of takes over, well, then so be it. It takes over. But right now, the plan is just the 5 roller coasters, decent number of the flat rides. And I'm not certain if I'm going to put in a river rapids or a log flume. I just don't know if I want to have one of those. I mean, it's Austin, and yeah, that's where I'm based out of. And so I guess, Austin would definitely have to include a log flume. And in all reality, they'd also have to have a water park. I don't think people would go to it if they didn't have a water park. But other than that, um, definitely would have to have a water ride. So, what am I building right now? That's your basic information ticket booth. I do have it right there just because it's going to be a pretty open entrance type section, right? So you'll have the parking lot, um, and I'm actually going to put some seating spaces off to the side, a little bit in a different episode or off camera, most likely, um, just as a little picnic thing. So people that don't want to spend $150 on food inside the park can bring stuff in an ice chest in their car, come out at lunchtime, have it, then obviously go back in to finish out their day at the park. So here we are, still working on this whole entrance section. That's what today's episode is on the entrance. You will, at the end of it, see some, I guess you could say, cinematic views of what the entrance looks like completed at day and night. Right now, this is the complete and total building process that we have sped up. So if it looks a little choppy, it's because it's sped up by about 800 times. Um, so every now and then, I guess the processing kind of gets a little caught, here or there. But the buildings that we put in, the other side was two information buildings. These will be information buildings too. I'm going to have to put signs on them because I don't think I did now that I'm kind of watching this back over. Um, Basically, some are gonna sell day tickets, other ones are season pass tickets for this building, and then obviously on the other side it'll be the 2 information booths, basically to help buy your flash passes. Each roller coaster is gonna have a flash pass, and I'm not sure about the flat rides. Maybe not. If we put in a log flume or a water ride, you can bet your butt that will have a flash pass line. So we're going to have plenty of those lines that have that fast entry on it. Even though when I go to a theme park, I hate that because I don't ever get it. For one, two, I've seen where they put you in at the line. In some of these rides, it's really not all that much faster, you know. So, hey, it is what it is. But as far as the design goes, we're trying to keep it pretty constant or consistent here at the opening. We have some of the metal stuff, which is technically, I don't know, the more newer type of artistic looking stuff. Um, I'm probably not the guy to ask about that type of thing, but that would be more of a modern way that I could see Austin doing it. As far as an entrance making it, it's simple yet I think it looks really good. The metal wire framing, all that, it's a good looking type of look to it. On these buildings, I am just adding in some flower beds. That will be face spiller. You're going to have a lot of concrete once you're inside the park. As far as path covers for every section, I'm not exactly sure on that, but we probably will for some good parts, for good chunks of the park, right? So there's going to be a lot of concrete in here. So we're going to add in flowers, um, potted plant sections and all that, kind of throughout the park and the entrance, just to provide it some color, to liven it up, to bring it out a little bit more. That's kind of what we are looking at doing for it. So here we are, just working on the pathing for the entrance building. I did have to make some movements to where we are placing them, just for it to be more or less, I guess, even across the board. And like I said, consistent as far as the design goes, at least for a section. And I'm not talking about like heavily themed areas. I don't have the eye for that type of thing. I've tried it. It just doesn't work for me, and it comes off, in my mind, looking foolish. So on the inside, you're not going to see a whole lot of themed areas. Probably more themed rides. And the closest thing for like flat rides as far as theming goes that we'd be talking about, maybe some stuff in a queue if a queue is going to be long enough. That's really about it. Other than that, I'm not having massively themed areas for everything. It's just not going to be that way. So here we are trying to close up some of the pathing spaceways, which I hate this pathing system. I think everybody that's played the game has said that once or twice before. But getting everything connected from those other entrance sections to the actual entrance walkways. Now, I did do this in the scenario editor when I first created this, I guess you could say, scenario. It's the Alpine setting. I only changed a couple of the paint brushes and like I said, the size of the park. Other than that, and I guess the spawn points. Back behind the parking lot, there is a hotel, which is where I have put the spawn points at. And so everybody will be coming out of the hotel, and then the pathway carries them across the section of the parking lot and up to the actual entrance of the park. So here I am. Those letterings, I think, are Theme Maker toolkits. I don't know whose they are. I couldn't tell you. I put those on there so long ago. But those are not mine. They are Theme Maker toolkits. And generally, everything that I'm trying to do, you see this going up now, it does not stay this way. Everything you're seeing actually gets kind of redone for in-game pieces. And I kind of like how the in-game pieces worked out a little bit better than what we were seeing here. So I think this turns out pretty good. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to put Austin and Adventure on the same curved plane with them being such different letters and all that, or words and letter count. But this is, as I said before, Blue Austin Adventure Park. That's going to be the name of this theme park. So it's just trying to create a unique looking type of, I guess, modern looking type of entrance. So that's what we're doing. Once again, keeping that metal framing idea behind it. That's kind of how what went into making this little, I guess you could say, frame for the wording. That probably comes off the best. And so connecting it all together to make it one whole piece, I thought it looked pretty good. But in the end, and you'll see right about now, look how small that is compared to the actual entrance size. I might, man, I really liked having that. I did save it, I believe. But I might just take out one row of those entrances and change everything up again. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I get rid of these. I did save them, but I got rid of that portion of it. And this is where we actually are going to be getting into doing the new, I guess you could say name signing. It's not really name signing. It's taking the basic letters that we have here with the lights on them and doing what I did with those SeaMaker Toolkit letters, except doing it with these lights. Now, before it was going to be Austin on top, like Adventure down below, Park in the middle. And I can tell you, with as big as these are, it just doesn't come out looking right. You know, and that's the problem. As big as the letters are, and as much time as I did not want to spend measuring the angles for Adventure and all that underneath to make it look good, I wasn't about to do that. So I do test it out here, but we'll change it. And so what we end up having is Austin on the left buildings with the 2 information booths, Adventure over the middle section where you have the actual walkways. You know, it's kind of that step into the adventure type of, I guess, mindset, thought, you could say. And then Park is going to be on the right set of buildings. Yeah, see, here we go, starting to move it to put it up on the actual buildings that way instead of doing it in the circle. Like I said, the circle, with as big as these letters are, that circle is just going to end up freaking huge. You know, like Universal Studios, globe size, huge. And so I didn't want to deal with that, trying to say, oh, this is it going over the sign. No, that's not what I was about to pull off. So I do the Austin Adventure Park. I kind of like how I really do actually like how this turns out. Each word on a different building. You know, it kind of keeps it going how Adventure is there in the middle. Austin's on the left side. So as you're walking into the whole thing, full of surroundings, left to right. And here I am just messing with some of that night lighting that I kind of mentioned before in an earlier episode. Now what I'm doing right here is just making some color changes. Making it more, I guess, Austin-y with the multiple brighter colors and all that. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here for that. So we are going to, in this episode, finish up basically just this entrance area. Now here, once again, I don't know what came in. I just really like those metal supports, so we are putting them in here to give it that sort of look of, yep, it would really hold this up. That would really happen. And so we run the leaning bars and then the other one across. I end up updating that for all of the letters here. Now this one is a little bit more difficult because it's hanging over basically the shaded section. And so we just kind of extend it out a little bit. And I think it turns out pretty good. It's not something you're going to notice from the front at all, but I really liked how that came off. The entrance is going to be primarily concrete. I have concrete, and then I think there's like that castle stone walkway that I add into it. And I liked how they both came together, basically. It turns out to be pretty good looking, I'd have to say. And so we are just putting in the covers. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to have the path covers throughout the whole park. Probably not. But I do like how it turns out. And at first I was planning on keeping it in this same design as you can kind of see right here in front of you. I do change that up a little bit once I start filling in these blank spots. And so that's just basically all that is. It's just minor little filling segments to finish that up. Now this is where I do take it out. Once I fill in these areas, I take out the concrete slabs that went over, so we just have those castle pieces, and I do kind of like how that looks. I think a little bit better. That really comes out looking pretty good. So here we are, just adding in these final little trees in, and some bushes. I try not to do too much. This is where I tend to struggle with like a eye, as far as making bushes and those type of filler settings. So I keep the tree, but I get rid of the other plants when I come back, and I start to put this little set of flags. I think kind of do a pretty good job symbolizing the entrance. Come over this way, come into the park. I really do like how that turned out, and this entrance performs really well. And that does remind me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you have not hit it already. And stay tuned for all the Champ and Sons content that we have coming to the channel with this brand new Planet Coaster series. In the next episode, we will be going into our entrance plaza and leading into the park. And so that should be an exciting time to get this park really underway and developed. So go ahead and I'll leave y'all here, and you can stay tuned for the cinematic shots coming up in about 10 seconds. So have a good evening, everybody.